Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 87. It's here. It's here. For those that know, um, I felt like Nathan Johnson when the new phone book showed up. If any of y'all remember the old movie The Jerk. Anyway, and what am I talking about? Well, I am talking about Gunfighter Royale, fight to the finish in the Wild West town of Gunpowder Gulch. Hopefully, Forrest will be joining me here shortly. If not, we'll just go ahead and talk about the game anyway. Excuse me. Before we dip into that, of course, as we all know, I'm literally sponsored by Wiley Games, and they've got a great sale going on right now. It's a 10% off on sci-fi stuff to revel in the greatness of Battlesuit Alpha. There's a 10% discount on all things sci-fi. So Starfighters, Galactic Heroes, Battlesuit Alpha, it's all there, 10% off. Now until it actually started yesterday through, I think it's tomorrow. So if you have not yet got your copy of Battlesuit Alpha, I know Chris Long up in Canada has got his. He's very excited about it. But now's the time to get it. 10% off the book, 10% off the cards, 10% off the PDF. Perfect time to get it. Do it. You won't be sorry. I have decided that I'm going to be using Battlesuit Alpha to do my Cold War battles. So I'm going to be working that stuff up. So when I start working up on the units and whatnot, I'll throw them out there in the usual places. Love to hear what you guys think. If y'all are part of the Wiley Games Facebook group, you've seen one of the guys has just been throwing up all kinds of builds from Battletech or MechWarrior or whatever it's called. He's doing an amazing job. I think Jay Wiley is going to kind of pull all those together, and he's going to put them into a PDF for free download for everybody, so everybody has access to them. Obviously, he can't monetize it because copyrights and all that, and plus this dude's been doing it and throwing it up on the board anyway. So, but I think he's going to do that for us. So that's cool. And also, you might have seen the sneak peek. His son Marshall has been hitting the codices really hard, and we're going to see some Grimdark. We'll see some we're going to see the Grimdark supplement coming soon. So that's cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at who's been talking. Chuck says, we'll miss you, Reese. I guess Reese had popped in earlier and said he wasn't going to be here. He's probably, he had a 4-day weekend, so he went out hunting. And I guess the last couple of days he's been dealing with turkeys. And they've probably been getting the better end of him. Chris Long is here. He says, hello, all. Chuck says, evening from SoCal. Chris Long replies with, hello from Canada. He says, big stompy robots, not Jay. Mechs smash. Yes, absolutely. Guys, if you love that type of stuff, you like the big battle mechs, like this guy here. If you like this type of stuff, then you want to get yourself Battlesuit Alpha. You just do. Or if you want to look at how to deal with tanks and flyers, helicopters and infantry, and how they interact a lot easier Battlesuit Alpha is the way to go. Like I said, I'm going to be using it for my Cold War. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. I'm gonna be statting stuff up here in the not too distant future and get that going. John Longshore gives us a wave. Hi, John. Um, I hope all is going well. I know, believe it was either earlier this week or late last week. Sadness prevailed in your household, and I do wish you my deepest condolences. I know how hard it is to deal with a loss of that nature. Ken Seidenblad's in the house. Howdy, y'all. Howdy yourself, sir. Walk about the game says, hell yeah. He says, buy it. And I'm going to try those stats this weekend. Got my Battlesuit Alpha and card and horse and musket mug in the mail yesterday. Outstanding. 15 millimeter mechs this weekend. Great. Okay, so we've done our due diligence. We've talked about all the greatness over at Wiley Games, but the real reason we're here is to talk about Gunfight Royale. Like I said, fight to the finish in the Wild West town of Gunpowder Gulch. And here he is.
I'm sorry. I was painting. I have to tell you that.
It's okay. I
was painting Napoleonics.
I had to talk about some other non-Knuckleduster stuff. So this works perfectly. I'm just about to dive in to talk about Gunfight Royale, fight to the finish in the Wild West town of Gunpowder Gulch. First off, I will come out and say already, I've already opened it all. This isn't going to be a first, oh, look, because I've played the game. Guys, this is probably one of the most fun I have had playing any type of game in a very long time. For those of y'all that have not seen it, I think he still has them up. But you can head on over to Matt's channel, and we've got a couple of live plays that are just absolutely hilarious. So go ahead.
You can get to them from the Kickstarter page too. They're linked.
Okay,
they're on there.
So, and I will. I might even, if I can, download them, throw my branding on the front of it, and throw it back up onto throw it up on my channel also. So we'll see. Who knows? But so we're gonna look at what's in the box, but it's not gonna be a surprise to me. I've already got it laid out, so it's easy for me to grab. So I'm not just digging through the box. But first off, this box is high quality. This is a good quality box. The artwork is impressive.
Shout out to Tim Tulin.
What's that?
Shout out to Tim Tulin.
Yes.
Of your neck of the woods, I think. Actually, I think he's a Missouri, St. Louis area guy.
Okay. So we've got ages 14 and up with 2 to 6 players. If you play with only 2, I would highly suggest each player play 2 characters.
Yep.
For sure. So that way you can do free for all or the team scenarios. A quite nice rule book. It is pretty heavy cardstock, glossy, full color. The rules are just dead easy also. So it doesn't take a lot to learn how to play the game. Once you've read the rules and you've played a round or two, you will literally be able to teach this to anybody without a problem. In fact, I will go on record right now. This will most definitely be at March to Victory. In March of next year, and I'm going to take it with me to Wily Wargaming Weekend, which is not this weekend but next weekend. So we'll see what everybody thinks. And so yeah, it's got a really nice rule book.
Yeah, so that rule book can be flipped and referred to a lot without falling apart.
Right. It is well built. Is quite nice, and what I like about it is the pages are heavy enough that you don't have to jump through hoops to get it to lie flat. So
that was a surprise to me, actually. I hadn't spec'd it out at that weight, but the folks that made it, they just decided to make it that heavy. They wanted to show off some new techniques they had or some new capabilities they had, and I said, okay. But I can't take credit for it. But that's the game.
Credit goes where credit is due, I guess. And the company who did the printing did an amazing job. So you get some dice. You got these special 3-siders, and they're just a D6 with 1, 2, 3 on it multiple times. 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s. So nothing fancy there.
I'm a big fan of the D3s. We use them in Gunfighter's Ball also, because in a situation where you would roll a 6, if you roll a D3, 2 D3s, I mean, you'll get a smoother result. You won't have the swings from 1 to 6.
Right.
You could use average die also.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you can still do modifiers in there if you want to, like a -1 or a +1, and still come out with the same kind of feel. But like you said, yeah, it's not as spiky. So, yeah. Also received this nice little card. That was nice. Nice.
I'm deeply appreciative of the folks that backed this Kickstarter, you being one of them, and and the fact that people had to wait a long time because of COVID and all the supply chain issues.
So I'm gonna come out and say this right off. Yeah, it 18, 19, 20 months down the road. But and I've seen other Kickstarters be like that, and there's a lot of growling and grouching of backers. But one thing that you did that I don't think many Kickstarter doers, or whatever you're called, do, is that you kept us informed. You let us know, hey guys, sorry it's taking so long. This is where we are. Hey guys, we just received the mock-ups back. This is where we are. Hey guys, we finally got things together. Hey, they're on the ship that's coming this direction. You kept us informed, and I think there wouldn't be as much grousing with other Kickstarters if the person doing the Kickstart would be more communicative and just say, hey guys, I'm sorry it's taken so long. This is what's happening. And you did that perfectly. You kept us informed. And I was like, man, I wish I would get here, but I never felt like I was being ghosted. I never felt like you were, I never felt like you were taking the money and beating feet, So that much appreciation from someone who backed the project to you for keeping us informed.
Well, what I wanted to get across to people was that the comfort level I had, I mean, I never had a moment where I doubted that it would come together. I mean, because I knew the players that were involved, and I knew that these are vendors I've worked with before. They've produced for me before. The company that did the game itself is the same company that made the game mat from our 2018 Gunfighter's Ball Kickstarter. And it was a really nice game mat. If you remember, we're out of stock now, but it was the desert surface game mat.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys are known quantities. They're professionals, and I knew the thing was going to come together, but I wanted to be able to give people the confidence to know there's a process going on here. That's the dryer is in the next room. Sorry about that.
No worries.
That it will come together. It's just the supply chain. Oh my gosh. There was a point in the middle of the manufacturing where they had a lockdown in the province where it was being made that lasted for 3 months.
Yeah.
And it had almost been loaded on the boat. And at the last minute, it got shut down and it sat on a dock for like 3 months. So these were just things you can't control for. Oh yeah. And then the dry erase, the reason it was sitting on the dock was because they identified the dry erase markers as a liquid. And of course, a liquid could be dangerous, right? So it has to be inspected by the authorities. So they parked it on the dock and awaiting inspection. So it was just one thing after another. But I did know that, yeah, it will come together. And
yeah, and it did. And it came together beautifully. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Once this goes to retail,
yeah,
the bog standard box is going to not have the plastic or metal miniatures in it, correct?
It will have plastic miniatures in it, and
it will have the plastic. Okay.
It will have a sticker, a gold. The raised lettering gold stickers. There's no ink on them, but they're like children's books will have an award sticker on them. Mm-hmm. There'll be a sticker on the front of it on the shrink wrap that says "Gold Edition, figures included." Okay. So that'll be the standard when we sell. So most of them will come with the plastic figures, and then if we always have the option of selling them separately if we want to down the road.
Right, and the reason I bring that up is because I noticed on the cards, and it's wanting to self-punch itself.
Yeah, they're punched very well through. You won't have any problem with tearing because they'll pop right out.
Right. But I'm noticing that we've got...
Yeah, you've got chits for all the characters.
Right. So if you don't want to have to worry about, taking your miniatures with you for whatever reason, maybe you just want to grab the box and go, and you've painted them up really pretty. And I'll just show one off here real quick. You painted them up all real pretty, and you don't have a great way to transport them yet, and you don't want to just chuck them into the box like you can. You can still play the game with the chits. Let me go ahead
and if you flip one of those chits over, you'll see it says prone on the back. So if you flip it over, yeah, so you do have a marker there you can use with the figures if you need to.
Right. So yeah, if you're the type of person that does not like to lay your miniatures down, I don't know why not, but there are some people like that. You can plop this down next to them if you want, or if you're playing with just the character chit, you can flip it over when they go prone.
That little graphic on the back of there also serves as a painting guide if you want to paint the figures.
Yeah, if you want to paint your characters to look like how Forrest is envisioned to them. Let me find her here real quickly. Here she is. Now, they are very well made.
They were made in the United States. They were made in Utah by friends of ours at Trenchworks. If you're familiar with Trenchworks, from the tanks that they make, they do a lot of work in our industry, and they have the best resins and plastics that I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really nice. What I like about it is it is a bit bendy.
Yes,
but it's not the flimsy, like, it's going to keep its shape very easily, but it's not going to snap if you catch it on something.
Yeah, it's not brittle. Yeah, the difference between this is plastic and not liquid formed resin this is the kind of plastic you melt and inject into a mold rather than casting it from a resin epoxy type of thing. Right. So this doesn't have the brittleness that those have. This is real plastic, and you can rattle it around the box and it should not break.
Exactly. You also get this little card here. It's so now if I wanted to, once you're all up and running and you're good to go, I could go back and buy the metal miniatures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have that as an option. It'll be available.
Okay. And I can get them in either the big head style, or I can get classic 28 millimeter style, right?
Yeah, well, they'll become part of the Gunfighter's Ball range, the regular ones. So there'll be some sort of product description that tells you that those will work with the game that to go with it, you know.
Okay.
Now, one of the big goals for this is to reach a bigger audience than us wargamers, and right. And that bigger audience, they're, you know, it's a little less intimidating to come across these cartoon characters, because a lot of people have friends and relatives that do wargaming and role-playing gaming, and when they see a 28 millimeter figure, a normal person will say, "Ooh, that's that complicated stuff that, you know, Bob's into. Yeah. I don't want to get, that's too hard for me. I'm not gonna." Yeah, so those people, this is very disarming. It's not a hobby you have to devote all your time to. It's just a game.
Right, exactly. And like you say, on the very first page about this game, what kind of game is it? You literally talk about, you say it's not a Euro game or a traditional board game. Its roots are firmly planted in the world of tabletop minis, yet those with demo and playtesting copies have found it to be a hit with their families and non-gamer friends.
This is true.
The goofy minis, the cartoon artwork, and the evocative Wild West setting set people at ease the moment they sit down to play. And I find that to be true. I'm lucky in the fact that my wife will play games with me. She'll play miniature games with me. She at one point in time had her own Sisters of Battle 40K army. She's got orcs from 40K. So I'm lucky enough to have a wife that will indulge me and play games with me when, you know, I, for whatever reason, I can't get out and game. So I think we're going to have a great time with this. Going to take it to Kansas City and have our kids play with it, our adult kids. And my granddaughter is 10 years old now, I think, somewhere in there. Anyway, see if she wants to sit down and play. You know, I'll keep you informed on how that goes. But some of the other nice features, and I'm going to call them features, is you have your character card, and you've got your health chips and your stun chips, and then your hands. And what these are for is, let's say you get wounded, and we'll talk about the wound cards here in a little bit. Let's say you get wounded in the right hand. When you get wounded in the right hand, you put the hand token on it, and you can no longer use your right hand. Same thing if you have a problem with walking, you put the boot marker there on the boot, and you now have a problem with walking. So and then of course, when we're talking about the character cards, we're talking about this right here, and you just place it right there. So it's easy to see. It shows you what the character looks like, his starting weapon, and how much he's worth if he gets taken out. So, and then your health chips, you've got 3 red chips, 6 white chips, and then a stun chip. And if I remember correctly, these are the first ones to go. The white cards are the first ones to go, and then the red ones are your last ones.
Yeah, when
These
you
are
get down to the red chips, you're mortally wounded. It takes you down to another set of negative modifiers on your shots that you're taking and things you're doing.
Things start to go south fast at that point.
Yeah, and that's when the first character takes a mortal wound, then the lone rider of eternity starts marching around the board, and there's a time track, and you run out of time. You can, after about 4 or 5 turns, you're out of time. So if you haven't scored any points by that time,
it's time to score points.
It's time to score some points, and then it's a race against the clock. And I like to add things in a game that add urgency,
right?
And also things that prevent a stalemate.
Exactly. So you get 6 of these boards. So 6 of these cards, and then a set of 6 sets of the poker chips, and again, high quality, heavy duty card, really nicely made. Each of these 6 frames has 2 of the characters on them. So you got that. Along with one of them has the lone Rider of Eternity on there also. Here we go.
And there's a little tip on how to paint him there too, because you see he's sort of phantasmagoric. He's like a he's kind of like the ghost. He's like the ghost warriors at the end of Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Now the board, I like the board a lot. Let me see if I can. It's a good sized board. It is, and this is the time track that he's talking about.
Yep.
And each of these, not all of them, but there are some. And we're going to talk about more of the things, like here it says player with a dead character draw 1 dirty trick. Because even though you're dead, you're not out of the game. That's another nice thing, is you've been shot and you've run out of chips, but you can still affect what's happening. So especially if you're doing a team game, you might be out, but you can still help your team win by playing dirty tricks, and we'll get into those here in just a second. One thing I wanted to show with this is we've got these horses, and those are some of the dirty tricks you can play. So you got somebody standing next to one of these horses. If it's next to the head, the horse can bite them and cause an injury, or kick them and cause an injury. Now, where is it? Yeah, right here at this question mark. The first game we played, McMurray and I, we ended up having an axe fight. That's how we ended Gunfight Royale. Is with an axe fight.
It wasn't Axe Fight Royale. It was Gunfight Royale.
And then down here, by this bush here, that's where somebody threw an axe at my character. I was facing them, but somehow it was a boomerang axe from Australia, and I got axed in the back, or hatcheted in the back.
Interesting. Did he pick it up and throw it back at you? Is that what happened?
I don't know.
I think that's what happened.
I don't remember.
There's no boomerangs in it, but I think maybe he picked it up and threw it back at you.
Yeah. So, so there are 13 characters. 1, 2, 3.
Well, there's 12 characters and the Rider of Eternity.
Right.
And then
but there was an additional extra guy. And I'm assuming his card is not in here, so I'm
Well,
assuming
yeah, that's part of your. So let me jump in here for a second.
Go ahead.
Where we still last Friday I was supposed to get 4 boxes with his card being one of the items in the box. It's still not here. It's going to be here any day now. I was given a window that it would be in from like 15 to 16 days. Well, that was a little over 2 weeks ago. But when it comes in, so the first round, I want to get games into people's hands as quickly as possible. So I'm shipping out everything we've got, and then doing a second shipment with the things we don't have. So when you get your backer kit, if you're watching this and you back the game, when you get your backer kit, there will be a sheet of paper in there that has a list of the things that we couldn't ship. And then we have a pile of those. We've kept a record of that. And then when the items come in, then we'll send a second shipment out. So there's 9 character cards, and about 12 weapon cards for the stretch characters.
Right.
And then some people bought a really neat thing we put together, which was a do-it-yourself board kit. So that board is in 4 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are 4 panels. They're double-sided. You can arrange your town the way you want to.
Right.
And it's an Adobe town on one side, and it's open range on the other side. That has a campsite, and it has a cabin, and then it just has like just wilderness in the other ones. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. And a lot of people bought that, but it isn't in yet. So it'll have to go out in a separate shipment. And but it's the same outfit that did the game itself, so everything matches.
That's good. Yeah. So when you shoot, you get to go through, and there's a couple of different ways you could do this. You can actually go through and maybe high die to see who gets to pick first, and you thumb through and you find the character you want to play, or shuffle them up and deal them out.
That's true. You can do that. I think the rule as written, you roll to see who gets to pick first.
Right.
And
I like the idea of this is who you get.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of a game session you're having. If you want to, you can, because they're short games, it's designed so that you could do maybe 3 gunfights in a night, and you'd keep a running tally of how many bounties you scored.
Right.
And so then it becomes a game from one game to the next of, if I pick a high point character, well, then I've just given my opponent the opportunity to score some points to try to catch up to me.
Right. Exactly.
But then again, he's not as capable, so I might not win. Yeah. So that's the philosophy behind that. And like you say, if you have a casual game night with a bunch of guys and you just want to have a quick one-off, deal them out, see what you get, and make the most of whatever character comes up.
Yeah, and a lot of these characters, when you look at them, you'll recognize them.
Have I ever done that in my product lines before?
Because I'm telling you right now, this may be the sneak, but if that's not Buddy Epson, I don't know who it is.
I'm not saying anything.
I know you're not saying you. He might need to have some round sunglasses on. That's all I'm saying. So, but it tells you what, like I said, how much he's worth, a little bit about him, his special ability, and then the weapon his starting weapon. And you did a phenomenal job of having the starting weapons be separate in a different color than the other weapons, so they're easy to separate.
Yes, because game setup time, with any game you sit down to play, game setup time is a real factor.
Yeah, it takes away from game time.
It does, absolutely.
So for instance, the Pistolier He's wanted. He's worth 3,500, so he's worth a lot.
Oh yeah, he's one of the top ones.
Says he can fan the hammer as an action, allowing him to shoot 3 times instead of 1. Each shot has a 3 less accuracy than the last. So it's 3, 6, 9, right? Loss of accuracy on that single action. Okay. Right. And then last seen carrying a Colt Navy cartridge. Well, the Colt Navy cartridge is right here. And this is what we're talking about on the accuracy and range. So if you're shooting at someone 13, I don't want to say 13 inches. That's the mini gamer in me.
Yeah, right. 13 spaces.
13 spaces, then your accuracy is 5. Well, I don't want to fan fire then because I'll go 3, 2, and then can't shoot.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm real close to you, like I'm right behind you, and I got a 19, that goes 19, 16, 13. That's still pretty good on a D20. That's still pretty good. That's better than 50% chance. Now, when I shoot, and that's where these come in.
Well, while you're getting that out, let me jump in real quick. It'll be very rarely that you ever actually get to have 19 as your 2-hit number because you will have moved or something else will be in the way or
Right. But you just come in here and when you've shot, you mark it out. Now, obviously, mine's probably going to look a little better than that, but you get the picture.
I'm impressed you can do it backwards at all.
And you get the nifty little eraser on it also.
That is an excellent marker. Those markers work perfectly with the coating on these cards.
Yeah, they work phenomenal.
I wouldn't use any other kind of marker on it. I can't guarantee anything else. These definitely work really well. I think I'm not so sure, but what they might actually be transparency markers.
No, they're specific.
They say dry erase, don't they? Yeah,
they're whiteboard. No xylene and toluene.
That's it.
Used on whiteboards.
Right. That's what makes them different. Is they don't have those chemicals, xylene and toluene, I guess.
Right.
I had an old dry erase marker that I had used because we hadn't got the games in yet, and all I had was the sample, and I was just doing it with any old dry erase marker I had sitting around, and it stained it, and I thought, what the heck's going on? Well, it's because it had those chemicals. So use the ones in the box.
Yeah, if you want to get more, be sure that you are getting ones that are no xylene and no toluene.
And I think that would be the same with any kind of cards that have a UV coating. This is probably across the industry.
So yeah, and some of these weapons are pretty cool. Like I've got the Coach gun. It's a shotgun. It's 2 shots. But it'll mess you up close in. It'll definitely D in. Of course, then there's also just knives.
And then the wound, everything. I'll point out a difference for your wargaming viewers. A difference between a game like this and the war games we usually play. There's no interpreting. There's no interpretation that's needed. Everything, it's a board game, so everything's right in front of you. Like, for instance, that knife he was just showing, it tells you what part of the card to look up your result on when you get the wound.
Yeah, it says it deals black wounds in a brawl or when thrown.
And it's the black and blue deck.
Yes.
The brawling wounds are blue. The shooting and stabbing wounds are black. So
this is where we were headed next. This is the black and blue deck. I love this deck. In fact, I might use this in other uses. I don't know where or how or why, but it's such a cool way to do it. And you just literally deal, top card. When damage is done, you pull the card, and if you've been shot or stabbed, you take one toe hit, and you can't run anymore. So that's when you would put that boot marker on the boot. Or if you're just, fighting, fisticuffs, you're knocked down, you fall prone. And what this does is this takes one of your chips away. So this would take
right.
one chip.
When you flip that around to the toe side again, I wanted to point something out that where it says can't run, that's not just a description. Those words mean that chip goes
you can't run. You literally can't.
That means the boot symbol. Can't run means the boot symbol. Whereas in one of our war games, it would be a description, and you would infer something from it, like, maybe he won't be able to run. But that lingo means you put the token on the thing.
This one right here. This is the one when I had the hatchet thrown at me.
Bad wound. Oh, that's a bad one.
It's 1d3 plus 3, so you're taking 4 to 6 damage. I got an axe in the back. You fall prone and you can't run. So you knock your character over and you put that boot token on. You can't run anymore. Yeah, that's bad business. Need in the jaw, and that doesn't mean like bread dough need. You got a knee in the jaw. That's D3. I mean, it's blue damage, but
it can knock you out of the game. Yeah, that's for
sure. There's abdomen shots. There's hit to the head and stunned. That's when you put the stun marker on you. Get your bell rung. Oh, you can get shot or stabbed in the buttocks and can't run. There's chest wounds. Oh, here's one. I like this one. Graze. Roll a D3. One is a head graze, and stunned. 2 is a hand graze, and you drop a one-handed weapon. 3 is a body graze with no effect.
And none of that needs to be looked up on a chart.
Yeah, it's all right here.
Right on you.
And on the opposite, body slam, both characters fall prone to the floor. So it's what, about 25, 30 different cards in here?
Yeah, and you keep discarding them until a fatal comes up, and it'll say on the card that you shuffle the deck back together at that point. So the longer the game goes on, the more likely that is to happen, because you're getting rid of, you're diluting concentrating those fatal results as you continue
one right
through
there.
The game.
That's a nasty one.
Pull the wound deck.
One D20. It could be, you just take one ship out, or you're dead.
Yeah, it isn't a sure thing that you're eliminated.
Yeah. So yeah, that I love this deck. Some of the other stuff that you get, you also get scenario cards. Those are handy.
It's funny, when we started designing it, we had like 12 scenarios, and then when we realized functionally
they all come out to down to
that. If you've ever played paintball, it's the same way. It just boils down to like 5. There's capture the flag from the other side, get your flag across there's just like these archetypal scenarios.
So, and then there's just a plethora of equipment and weapons. One of my favorites. Where is it? Where is it? I know what's in here, so I use it. Where is it? The dress. I love the dress. The dress allows you to conceal any weapon, basically, even long arms. You get to conceal long arms. And nobody can shoot you because they don't know if you're a civilian woman or not until they get close enough to see you. Or until you do something, overtly aggressive.
I should come up with a second one of those that is a white beard, a false beard. I think they would call it a false beard in those days. And that would be to make you look like an old man. That's
exactly.
Old man, don't shoot me. God, I looked too real when I looked at myself in the screen doing that.
Yeah. The other one I really like is the frying pan. It gives you armor in the thigh or the buttocks. But you have to mark where it's being placed.
That's right.
You can't just say, I've got it, and then you get shot in the left thigh, like, oh, that's where I want it. No, you have to place it beforehand. Oh yeah, the wood axe. Yeah,
there it is.
I had that, and Murray had that, and we were just swinging it at each other. Oh God.
So I can't take credit for all of that. The Yankee Gold, and the Yankee Gold can function as a wild card. Mm-hmm. It can function in different ways in the rules. It'll give you options for using it. I can't take credit for all these ideas. We had some guys in their 20s that had played games like PUBG, and back when they were younger, they played Team Fortress. And these video games, those silly items are part of that, part of the fun of those kind of games.
Oh, sure.
So that influenced this for sure. But they were also the kind of guys that are very astute and realize that it has to have a real game effect. It can't just be silly. So these things, as you pointed out with the dress, well, you can conceal a weapon in there, and also you can shield yourself from getting shot from a distance because you might be somebody's mother or sister or something.
Right. Yeah. And they got to get within 6 spaces of you before they can attack you, or you do something overtly aggressive. So the other set of cards that I just absolutely love. I mean,
the dirty trick deck.
Oh yeah, everything about this game I love. I love everything about this game. This is. I've received 3 games in the last 2 weeks, and 2 of them are World War II board games. But I think this is the one that I'm going to have the most fun with. It's the dirty tricks, and some of them are not horrible, like the jig is up, play at any time, where the character must flip their concealed weapons and items face up.
Yeah, not too bad. You got off easy if you got that card.
Then there are some like where is it? Accidental Discharge. Play on anyone at any time. Victim spends 1 ammo and rolls a D3. 1 is a shot to your foot with D3 damage. You can't run. 2 is fire into the dirt. Or 3 is fire at any target. So that could just be them pulling their pistol out of the holster and it goes off. If you want to get a storyline behind it.
Accidental discharge would have been a big thing back then, and that was. Of course, you really only would put 5 live rounds in your 6-shooter, and you would rest the hammer on the empty chamber.
Right.
That's what
exactly. So a 6-shooter really was never a 6-shooter.
Really
it's a 5.
People generally don't understand that, and so they get confused when you're showing only 5 rounds of ammo on a card or something. So you just go ahead and put 6 on there.
Here's one. Wound is worse than it appeared. Play on a character that has 8 health or less. They take an extra damage. Now, remember, folks, these can be played by anybody
at any time,
as it says. And there's some that's like this one here is play after another dirty trick is played. False alarm. Nullify the effects of the last dirty trick card. But like I said, They can be played by anybody. Even if your character is dead, you're still in the game because you've got your dirty trick cards.
Yeah,
and there's ways to get them. Of course, the
if you're
the
wounded,
time track goes through. If you're wounded, you can get dirty
you
trick
get
cards.
one dealt to you when you get wounded. And
Right.
as you say, when you're dead, if you can get more of them by hitting one of those spaces as the time guy goes around.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can still help your team.
And you can help yourself too, because if somebody is a close runner-up and you think he's going to bypass you and get more points, you can just foil him at every opportunity, try to keep him from scoring any more hits.
Yeah. So, it just, there's so many great ones. Slip on manure. Play on any character who is walking or making a movement action. Instead of moving, they fall prone in place and receive a blue wound. Apply the damage and ignore the effect. So basically, they're getting stunned.
Yeah.
Because, well, let's be honest. They hit some of that.
Right. That graphic at the bottom of the card is what you would say when somebody plays it on you.
Yeah. Bull.
Horse hockey.
Exactly. Bull feathers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what got you to the point of wanting to make this game? Obviously, you've got Gunfighter's Ball, which is a good Wild West game with same kind of wounds, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, you could probably use the wound cards here in Gunfighter Ball.
There's some concepts in it that I will probably adopt into Gunfighter's Ball.
Yeah. So what got you from Gunfighter's Ball, purely miniature, three-dimensional, normal, everyday, regular miniatures game, to this box of fantabulousness?
Well, it was the nicest guy in the business, John Russell, Warlord USA.
Yeah, I saw him this past weekend.
They take stuff.
Recruits.
Oh yeah, you would have. Yeah. So they take stuff to conventions for us. And John said to me one year at Little Wars, he said, if you could take that Gunfighter's Ball experience and put it in a board game box, we could sell that all day long. And so we started thinking about it and trying to learn about the process of making a board game, and sort of put a brain trust together to start play testing and figuring out how we would want to do it. And I really like the idea that somebody can enjoy those miniatures, those little cartoon characters. Somebody can enjoy miniatures and not have to take on a huge hobby in order to do it. So having good quality, highly detailed miniatures without having to engage in a really deep hobby to do it. I like that idea, that it could just be plastic figures in a box, but they're above and beyond what you would typically have in a family board game. And I also
Go ahead.
Well, and I also like the idea of the convenience of throwing everything in a box and taking it to game night, not having to carry stacks of boxes. I like the idea that the fun that we've been having with Gunfighter's Ball, and I see how much fun people have. You can just go on the Gunfighter's Ball group on Facebook and you see the joy that this has brought to people, which I'm humbled by. But what a whole new group of people can experience this. And as I say, without having to be part of a big hobby, they can experience that same fun that people have been having with Gunfighter's Ball.
Yeah, so I'm all for it. I'm in it to win it. I love it. These little little dudes are just so characterful.
That's the tomboy.
Yeah. Now we'll have to do some cleanup on them, but you know what? You would have to do that anyway.
Yeah,
So
those are called. I've learned that those are called manufacturing marks. They're inevitable in plastic casting. You know, if you got a set of Green Army men, or a set of look at your houses and hotels in your Monopoly game, it's the same way. There's little tags that you might need to trim, but
they're just so characterful. I really, really think they're just, and you designed all of the characters, right?
Oh yeah, I sculpted all of these guys. Yeah.
Now, did you were these 3D sculpted, or did you hand sculpt
3D sculpted them?
Okay.
Yeah. I do it all 3D these days. In fact,
it makes it so much easier for you.
It's not only easier, but the options you have are so much greater.
Yeah,
you can do, and then of course, as you say, it is easier because there's an undo button on a computer.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you stick your thumb in the putty on the opposite side of the figure from the one you're sculpting, there's no undo button for that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're so great. They really are. And you already have a couple of expansions ready to go. You got the giant.
Yeah.
You got this bucket head guy here.
It's
and the bear.
Name.
What's that?
The bear. I was trying to think of the buckethead guy. That's your man. What's his name? Ned Kelly. That's right, Ned Kelly.
So, got a couple of more comments here. MH777 says, "Good evening, sir. Thank you for returning. He's a new viewer. First time saw him last week. Thanks for coming back in. Sorry I didn't get back to you, but we were talking about this great game. Reese is here. Hey, y'all. Hi, Reese.
Howdy.
I think you would enjoy this, Reese. I really do. I am going to be bringing it to March to Victory. So, yeah, you'll know where I am. So we'll get a game or 2 or 4 in. So, Dante Sandro with a point. And says, like the figure. Yes, the figure.
Thank you.
They're just really great. This one here, Warmud, if you're watching this, I'll be your Huckleberry.
And he's got that's a pepper box.
Yeah. So, yeah, all of them just really great. Now, I was gonna ask you a question. Now I forgot. It's what happens with age, right?
I would be a liar if I said that didn't happen to me.
Too often than not, right?
That's right. So by the Christmas time frame, so by November is not that far away, is it?
No.
We'll be getting these back. We're getting backer kits out right now. I'm shipping them out every day, and I would say late November. Yeah, so I would think that I would have them released for anybody to buy at least early December. I'm hoping.
Sure.
Fingers crossed. Of course, all my estimate. This business of trying to come up with a reliable estimate of time frames in the last 2 years has proved to be a lot harder than it looks. So hopefully we'll have it by then. Well, certainly by convention season next spring, they'll be flying out the door. Yeah, we'll have them.
Yeah. And now you are actually doing the fulfillment yourself from their Central Illinois,
like we did for Gunfighter's Ball also. Yeah. We've got binders and checklists and
yeah, it's coming from the United States. So you don't have to wait, all the long waiting is done.
Yes, that's correct.
It'll ship out from. You actually have it on here. Normal, Illinois.
Normal, Illinois. And for those of you who aren't from our neck of the woods, that really is the name of the place.
Yeah, it's.
And if you're thinking
how normal it is, but
well, if you're thinking of the Truman Show, you're not far off the mark.
Yeah,
there's a very quaint little town.
So, now normal is what town is Normal paired with?
Bloomington.
Bloomington, that's right. Yeah, and that's where. Go ahead.
You're about to say it, I think. McLean Stevenson.
Yes. Yeah.
MASH. Yeah, McLean Stevenson. He's a Bloomington guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just out there in the middle of the prairie.
It's insurance companies and universities in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah.
So an interesting place.
But it's what is your retail going to be for the box?
Well, once we put the figures in, I have to run a few more numbers on that. Can't tell you exactly. I think with the figures it'll be around 65.
Oh, that's perfect. If you can bring it in at 65, that's especially with these figures. I mean, you're getting 12, 13. You're getting 13 figures. At $65. That's if you can make that happen. That's a really good price point. The quality is top notch. The like you said, the companies you're doing business with are obviously professionals. This is not a fly by night. This is definitely not a fly by night operation here. Your quality is unsurpassed with your miniatures, and the quality of the product itself is I've seen worse quality from bigger companies. Let's put it that way. So, well done.
I have to get your information for Dave Baker of Trenchworks. It's fantastic. He has some really nice tanks that they sell. They have their own small product line, and then they have all this work they do for the industry. But they have some beautiful, beautiful tanks, World War II stuff, and not just tanks, but also infantry and so forth. And this quality that you're seeing in these figures is what you get from them with their figures.
They're crisp, they're clean. There's going to be some cleanup that needs to be done, but you know what? That's with any miniature. Yeah, I
mean they're within.
It just is what it is.
They're what you would expect in a board game miniature.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think they're higher detail than you would normally get in a board game miniature.
Yeah, they're definitely a higher detail, but really, the cleanup isn't much more than just where the injection mold, attaches.
Just a little dab there,
little bleach, as it were. So, yeah, it's really well put together.
Thank you,
Forrest. You did an excellent job. Well worth the wait. And again, I never doubted that it would happen because you never doubted it would happen, and you let us all know that you didn't doubt that it was going to happen. So
there's nothing worse than not hearing anything,
Exactly.
And I can't understand why people don't just give out the information. I mean, people are much more comfortable when they you might not have control, but at least if you have information, it's just like tornadoes, right? You can't control a tornado, but at least you'd like to know if it's coming, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's not keep this a secret.
So, the other thing that comes in here is these cards here. There's 6 of them. And on one side, it tells you your actions. These are the things you can do. You can do 2 each turn. You can move, you can attack, or you can deal with inventory. And on the back gives you your accuracy modifiers for shooting and brawling. And then if you roll a 20 when you shoot, you got to roll your malfunction. And it could be not bad. It could be real bad. Like it's a dud, automatic miss, jam, takes an action to unjam, or busted. Your gun becomes a bludgeon. It's just what it is. So,
and being the 1800s, it's, probably a lot more frequent occurrence that your gun is wrecked.
So some of the actions you can do, you can run, unless you have the boot marker, because you got shot in the butt. You can walk. Run is 2 D3 spaces, face direction of movement. Walk up to 1 D3 space, and that is face any direction. And you can crawl, meaning you're prone, up to 1 space. And then you can climb across an obstacle with a white arrow over it. So, for instance, there's a water trough there next to the boardwalk and the dirt road. There's a white arrow going over it, which means you can climb over it. I don't think you can climb over the horses.
Well, if you can, and because it's a board game, and this is one of the nice things about it, is there's no interpretation required for the terrain. If it has a white arrow, it's a climb action. If it doesn't have a white arrow, it's not a climb action.
Exactly.
Required. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a solid black line, you can't walk through it.
Yeah, right. If it's a dotted line, it costs you an extra space, an extra movement. Yeah.
Yeah. Then on your attack actions, you can shoot. And again, it tells you exactly the process right here. Roll a 20-sided die. Roll at or below your accuracy number to hit. On a hit, deal a black wound card. Roll 1. It's a called shot. Roll 20. It's a malfunction. I mean, that's the entire process. There's nothing other you need to know other than that. And then you get your accuracy is on your card. How many spaces out is it? That's your number to hit. And then here are your modifiers. I mean, again, there's no guesswork.
Yeah, and there's no flipping back. You don't have to consult the rule book constantly through the game.
Right, exactly.
What you need should be right in front of you.
Roll a 20 on a throw. You roll a 20-sider. Roll at or below accuracy number to hit. On a hit, deal a blue wound. Miss. It scatters 2 spaces. Roll a d20 and throw back. Brawl. You and adjacent enemy roll 2d3. High roller inflicts a blue wound and a tie. Roll again. Aim. +2 accuracy until you end of your next action. Aiming twice in a row gives you a +4 instead. So if I aim, and then it comes back around to me on the next turn, I shoot, I am a +4 my accuracy. But you're holding yourself for a long time.
It's a gamble. They'll probably move out of the way, or you'll lose your target, or they'll take you down while you're
shoot you or come up and knife you.
You pretty much have to. You better be spraying and praying a lot of times in this game, because if you miss an opportunity to shoot, that might be the last opportunity you had.
Exactly. And then on inventory, you can weapon switch. You can put away and take out weapons. You can loot. You can take 1 item from an adjacent space, place in the hand slot, inventory, or drop it immediately. You can drop a weapon or item, and you can reload. Roll a d3, erase that many crossed off ammo. So he's made it easy, guys. Like I said, you read through this once, you play a round or two, you're done. You'll be pulling this out to play all the time.
I'm going to show you something here. If you are a painter, hopefully my webcam can give you a good look at this. But this is one of the metal versions we have.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's put them on a little tray here. See if I can get this. Yeah. Well, anyway, you get the idea. So I painted him with just acrylics.
Yeah.
I did do one with oils. This is Bucktooth Billy. The loose cannon. That's what this one is. The loose cannon.
Very nice.
So I had a lot of fun painting those. Oh, I got 2 more on popsicle sticks that I'm working on. This is going to be the Cowboy.
Yeah.
And then this one's going to be the Tomboy.
Tomboy's got to have red hair.
Got to have red hair. So yeah, so you can have some fun painting these things.
Oh yeah, you don't have to paint them up. You don't have to paint them up. Hold on, let me get back here. You don't have to paint them up like this if you don't want to, but it's nice to have the.
Really not necessary, but
paint them however you want to. But if you're the type of person like, oh man, how am I supposed to paint them back? I don't know anything about the Wild West.
Yeah.
And these are going to be fairly accurate.
And of course, you realize too, if you don't paint them, you can take that thing anywhere, turn it upside down, roll it around in the back of your trunk. It won't hurt the figures at all. And
right.
And I was told by I asked for advice from a really nice guy in the industry named Andrew Chesney, and he works for a board game company, and he said, don't give people the idea they should paint them, because that will scare off the board gamers.
Yes, it will.
They'll say, oh no, that's a wargaming thing. I don't want to get into that. So I've been careful not to promote that too much, but I know that we do have some nice miniatures to paint if you enjoy painting.
Yes. You have just as much fun with them unpainted as you will with them painted.
Did you see Warlord? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you seen Warlord's promotional stuff for their Waterloo game? They cast that, it's the like 13 millimeter, the strips. Yeah. They've done them in red and blue plastic with green plastic bases that come with them. So, and they're showing armies unpainted in red and blue plastic. I think we've reached a time in the life of the hobby where it's become acceptable to do that, because people can get started playing a game instead of spending 10 years painting everything before the game starts.
Right.
Or they can put on a game. And I thought that was pretty neat. It was pretty neat to see a game company acknowledge that this is an option, and it's a perfectly acceptable option.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, Forrest, I want to thank you so much. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Just from a Knuckleduster perspective, there's a big release on Friday. We've got 4 new terrain sets, interiors. We've got a blacksmith interior. We've got a cabin interior, and we've got an office interior. I guess it's just 3. And we have a set of bison, a herd of 10 bison. And we have the mounted version of the Hollywood Cavalry. And the horses are using that same plastic process now that you see in those figures, and it's excruciatingly detailed. I meant exquisitely detailed. It's more detailed than our metal horses. So I think you'll really like them. Very, very crisp.
So
be watching for that in the Knuckleduster Shop at Cartridge Facebook.
That's there for you. I believe earlier I was asked for a link to the game, so I'm going to link that is
the Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
Probably
a long way of doing it, but there you go.
The pre-orders are now closed. We're in the fulfillment phase, but it'll give you all the information on the game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Forrest, once again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I
Thank you
was
for
so
having me.
excited. I was so excited when I got the email. It said, first I got the email saying, you're going to get an email that tells you when it's shipped. And I was like, oh man, it's almost here. And then like at the very beginning, like the title of the episode is it's here. I said, I felt like Nathan Johnson when the new phone book showed up.
Oh yeah,
jerk.
the new phone books are here. Well, it does my heart good to see the joy that this has brought, and I guess that's what it's all about. We're essentially in the entertainment industry, and bringing some people some joy. And so anyway, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Just real quickly, so I don't miss anybody. Reese said matches well with Peculiar, Missouri. Yeah, Normal, Illinois, and Peculiar, Missouri need to be.
Is there a town called Peculiar, Missouri?
Yeah, just south of Kansas City.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Chuck says cornfields, Palace Heights in my youth, cornfields and farmland. Not anymore. Yeah, and then our buddy, Hanger Flying from the old Rockies War Room days, also known as Bane, James. Thanks for dropping in, buddy.
Thank you.
Like seeing what you're doing on your channel lately. That's a lot of good stuff, guys. If y'all have not checked, if you like, not quite pike and shot. It's definitely
is that Marlburian?
Yeah, that kind of time frame, the
Spanish
7 Years
Succession.
War, that type of stuff. Yes, War of Spanish Succession. Go check out what James is doing over at Hanger Flying on his YouTube page. So I'm all about getting people to go see other people's YouTube pages. So anyway, again, Forrest, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If there's ever anything you want to talk about or let us know about, drop me a line and I'll be more than happy to welcome you to the show anytime. So.
Well, it was fun being on. Thank you very much.
Outstanding. All right. Well, guys, until next time, y'all all know the drill. We'll see you on the flip side.